Hello, hello. Welcome back into the college championship. We are in the lower semifinals after game one. SLU looked dominant in that one over Northwood University. Sure, tell us what went on in that game.
Yeah, ultimately it was you give Surdy a free lane and you give kills to Aaron early. RBM tried to save it late while being on the brand, but unfortunately it was just too big of a mountain to overcome. Ultimately, I think that Surdy has a pool that is pretty good into ISOs, so it's going to be a little bit difficult to not give him a free lane, especially in that game one. However, the early opportunities that Northwood tried to take advantage of, if they were to succeed on maybe two or three of those, maybe this game goes completely differently, right? But unfortunately, it wasn't able to come to fruition for them. So hopefully, game two is a little bit different. Just because we
Also,
want to see a competitive
maybe
series.
like the graphic said, least favorite champion, Nautilus. Let's say
Yeah,
no more to that. Yeah. Are we all in
yeah,
agreement here?
yeah. Maybe Clyde channels his Clyde channels his inner Dora the Explorer and finds the map real quick instead of just going on an adventure. You know what I mean?
I think it's a statement game. I think it's a statement. I don't want Nautilus again. Don't give me this. I'm done already.
Yeah, MJ had his flu game. Clyde has his Nautilus game. One and the same.
I'm gonna be real. My people are known for protesting, but I gotta hand it up to Clyde, man. He was insane. He was insane. I love the protesting on Nautilus. Yeah, I mean, he's just walking into areas where he's not supposed to, right? Like clearing out red wards or pink wards, whatever you want to call them. He's walking into a river when clearly the numbers advantage isn't there. RBM's waiting on the other side of the bush, and you've got Vi, you've got Varus, and you've got Renata all already in river. I get it. You kind of have to look for plays when you're on the Nautilus, but if your team's not there, if they're not ready to pounce at a moment's notice, you're just getting caught out and you're left out to dry here. And those early kills, the ones that Aaron got, all of them were Nautilus.
Yeah, they all were Nautilus. It was Aaron 5-1 early on in the game at an 0-4 Nautilus. And we look at this next game. Northwood elect to stay on blue side, and I'm expecting to see the bans really change up going into this game. The Vayne that was banned pretty early on, doubt we're going to see that in this first rotation. Maybe the Camille, understand that one, but actually they do still go for the Vayne. But Camille, I expect to remain resolute.
And I think the Vayne specifically as a ban is just against Isol's champ pool. Vayne does
True.
play pretty well into it. So it's kind of, you have to put it there if you know that he is very proficient on the champion. I don't really expect the bans from SLU to change a whole lot.
Yeah, same here.
Maybe just for Northwood to maybe prioritize the Talia. I'm not sure Reppy's proficiency on the champion, but I do know that he's an incredibly talented mid laner. So giving him the tools to be at a team fight on a moment's notice would certainly help Northwood out a whole lot. And then if you look at the last shop, I believe that Surdy took 5 bans and RBM took 4. So
Yep.
I would expect that to stay pretty congruent.
Yeah, I kind of expect the same, honestly. Looking at this, yep, see, Nico is still banned away from both Reppy and Clyde. I mean, more than likely, Reppy has been absolutely popping off on that champion, so not too surprised. And I would expect to see another ban here. Maybe they opt to change it a little bit in this top lane. Instead of the Twisted Fate, I was thinking maybe they could go for the Jax, but no, they're just like, get rid of that because it does so well into the tanks again. They're shibby. What do you want to see? Do you want to see Northwood go back to this Jinx in the first pick, or do you maybe go with Sherv and say they're going to take Talia?
That's the tough trade, right? Because Talia is one of Darkwing's best champions by far in solo queue. He's so dominant in it, even in professional play. So yeah, you take the Jinx and you trade, I think, the Talia. I think early rotating your jungler so that RBN's champion pool doesn't get pinched is probably the move here. But instead, they're not even going to take the Jinx away. They're actually opting in for the Varus. But this screams to me that SLU should just lock in Jinx Talia right now. Why not?
Yep, sure. That's what I'm thinking too.
Yeah, that makes 3 of us. Yeah, especially when, Jinx is one of those champions where even if your team does have a massive gold deficit, it doesn't really matter when she gets excited, right? And you have those team fights. So if Northwood does find themselves down or did find themselves down, that Jinx could potentially be a savior. But they are looking at this Callista here. That is interesting. RBM is known to play Poppy, so it'll be interesting to see if we do see Poppy come up from him in this first rotation or not.
So this is something I would actually like to see Iso play, because this is like, if we throw it back to what Iso kind of got known for back in the past, was the Maokai, the Poppies, these tank top laners, especially Poppy. The two things I kind of, well, one thing mostly that really hops around in the map. I'm expecting to see more dashes from other members here on SLU, and having that Poppy does deny some of the playstyle that Surdy tends to go for. A lot of these things, dash in, that really try to get in your face. So with the fact that Reppy's onto Ari, RBM more than likely going to be on Vi because Clyde's not quite the Skytech where I'd go, oh, you know, it could be Flex. That's going to be RBM onto that. And then Renata Glosk for Skytech.
Yeah, these bread and butter combos that Northwood have been able to run, right? Right, the Nico, we've seen, like, I think Nico Kindred, we've seen Vi Ari, a super standard combo that can get you a kill at level 6.
Yeah.
It's once these two champions hit level 6, I'm sorry, Dark Wings, I don't care if you're on your best champion, you're dead to rights, unfortunately. And so Northwood really have to get this mid 2v2 engine going so that the rest of their team can start, you know, kind of dominating across these team fights. And I like that they're kind of falling back to something that's very easily executable. But SLU on the other side have found some answers to that, right? Obviously the Talia rocks, the Legos coming down, but the handshakes from Skytech and the, you know, hostile takeovers have been very crucial to stop this Northwood, you know, kind of push that they come into these team fights.
SLU banning 2 supports there. Ash and then Pike actually going to be the next ban there. Denying Clyde some of these different styles of hook champions. While we see, again, the 5 bans levied at Surdy. I honestly understand both of them. Olaf and Gwen. Like, we look at Surdy when he first entered in the academy scene. The Gwen was really what got him noticed by everyone, being like, this guy is so good on that champion, you have to get rid of that. And then having Winnie grab something like a Sejuani indicates they want to make sure they have that Bash Bros top lane, really setting up Surdy onto something comfortable, especially because Jax is still open. But Izo, if you want to play that Poppy that we were kind of talking about, Bard gets locked in for Clyde. I'm kind of waiting on bated breath to see if we get what we were talking about with the dash denials here for Izo, especially because we know how much of tanks they like to play. But sure, as I'm trying to fill this. No, it's going to be the Maokai there. I'm expecting Jax now.
Yeah, Jax for Surdy makes a ton of sense here. If Clyde wants to travel the map, Bard's one of the best champions at doing that, right? So
True.
Go on his little adventures, collect your little meeps, and hopefully you can make a difference with your ultimate. But I love SLU's comp here.
It's good.
You get the Bash Bros top lane, the melee top comboed with the Sejuani, always good. Darkwings, again, he performed incredibly well last game on the Talia, so you should kind of expect that same performance. The Ari will make things slightly difficult, but I do think that Dark Wings will be able to perform pretty similar to the last game. And then you're giving over, an A or S tier bot lane in Kalista Renata. So is it a 2-0? I hope not. But, based off a draft, their draft is incredibly strong. Shout out to Deus.
It is very strong, but sure, we're going to let you go. We're going to get into our game 2 and find out whether or not we will have the 2-0 lead for SLU or if Northwood can really upset expectations yet again and take this to a tie series at 1 apiece, especially with kind of the skirmish composition that we were highlighting before that Northwood have found a lot of success through. RBM and Reppy kind of tag teaming together. You talked about the Nico and Kindred as something that they have had paired up against before for Northwood, Shibby.
Yeah, and I think the thing about Northwood's composition is that typically you'll see bards picked into immobile compositions, right? Like you'll see it into like the Jinx, into the Varus. But other than Darkwings on the Talia, who can get kind of mobile, right? If she's near the walls, Winnie, Surdy, Kallista's going to be hopping around on the Aaron. Like realistically, you can only catch out either the Renata or the Talia. And I don't think this bard is going to be able to do as much damage as we hope for. It's going to have to be a follow-up to Izo's engage or RBM's engage where they can just perma-lock down somebody for like 20 seconds.
Ward spotted out by Enthralled there right outside the chickens, and then one placed down by Reppy. But both sides just trying to get a little bit of information early on to figure out where their opposing jungler will be, especially because we talked before about the matchup between Enthralled and Aaron and how important that has been for both teams. Here, having that Forest Bard is a little bit better, at least than we saw with the Nautilus. Something that can fight a bit more against the double range that SLU have, but it is a double range of Kalista Renata. As you talked about, one of these top-tier bot lanes that work so well together. We see right there that Skytech just walks out of the bush, tries to focus away Enthralled from the wave.
Yeah, really, really rough. I think Clyde's going to try to trade a little bit more. He's not in that double, ranged into melee matchup here. Going to have a little bit more emphasis. But look at this Kalista lane just ripping through these guys. And, we talked about Aaron being a more teamfight-oriented AD carry, but he does have a pocket Kalista. Like, it was banned against him in NACL when he was playing for Wildcard, and it has been banned against him in CLOL. He can exert pressure on a champion like this, and setting up these dives for SLU is what's going to be really important.
Oh, getting the flash early onto Enthralled as well. I mean, it is a flash traded support for ADC, but you take that every time for Slew.
Yeah, and look, they've already spotted out Winnie in the mid lane here. He's beelining it towards that bottom side. RBM on the Vi is susceptible to some invades here. Let's see if Winnie can yoink away some of these Raptors.
Going for a bit of trade on to RBM as well. Nearly having the permafrost stacked up as they kind of get that damage back and forth. But as you talked about, it's a Sejuani early into the game. RBM taking kind of a beating there with Darkwings already rotating around to make sure the Chicken Nuggets are going to be secured by Winnie and Slew.
Yeah, they got the whole thigh here. Oh!
Did Reppy get that?
Yeah, Reppy got it.
Did? Yeah. Wow. Yeah, Winnie didn't think that he had to smite that one. Enough damage from Reppy to at least deny that. Sure, it's not great because you still want your jungler to get that, but go back into the top lane. A 2-level lead. When did this happen? Izo against Surdy. No, you can't dive this by yourself this early into the game, Surdy. Does get pushed back by the Bramble Smash, but Izo, this lane is just so difficult, and I don't even know for Northwood if they even want to put any resources to try to help out Izo, but if they don't do anything, then Surdy's just going to have another free lane, and he's going to scale in this game as well.
It's a catch-22. Right? You help out Izo, but then your bot lane gets destroyed. You don't help out bot lane, then your top lane gets destroyed. It's rough. It's rough here, right? For
Can this
Northwood,
be like a catch 44 instead? Like double it, because now every lane is getting pushed in, and RBM is struggling to secure his own red buff and force Clyde to get into the top lane, while there is going to be the minion wave frozen right out of turret range for Enthralled and Clyde, and then getting pulled back in, so Clyde without any mana has that flash, can get back with the flash away as they follow up the first blood out of Aaron, while Skytech's in a bad spot. RBM doing his best to get more damage. They got the bailout, but the flash away. Hail of arrows does pick up the kill. Northwood turning this around. It's Winnie getting a little bit of damage onto RBM, but he's still alive. Getting the flash out of there. Sejuani barely surviving, but Northwood 2 for 1 in this bot lane.
We talked about how Slew, to win this series, all they need to do is play controlled. Magical, that's not controlled. They wanted the whole bot side of RBM's jungle, and they just get a little over-aggressive. Yes, Aaron gets the first blood kill, but Enthralled picks up one for himself and an assist again here. Northwood bringing some fight back into game 2. I like that. They're punishing. They're trying to contest even though they're low in HP value. And I think the really big thing for them was that Clyde was able to live longer than he should have.
Clyde does have his back canceled by Skytech, trying to have that synchronization between him and Enthralled. He'll be able to get back sooner rather than later, but more importantly is Enthralled cashing in, right, as you were talking about. The fact that you now have the Berserker's Griefs to match that of Aaron, so they are pretty much at the same level. The only difference is going to be, it's just a control ward, which isn't massive, but it's still enough. You're getting Enthralled in a better position than they were in the last game, and as we were talking about, the catch 44 with every lane getting pushed in and losing, well, now you have a lane that is either even or soon to be a bit ahead of the competition.
And I like this from Clyde, doing what Bard does best, leaving bot lane, saying, I'm out of there. I don't like Kalista.
He's not leaving it. Enthralled's up top lane, saying, all right, we're going for a late role swap here, sending our ADC and support towards the top side of the map, and we'll even maybe trade this dragon. Winnie should be able to get this, but with the grubs about to spawn, that'd be another great thing to deny towards Surdy, as we talked about last game. You need to make sure that you don't have the 5 or 6 grubs for Jack's late game.
Yeah, and we talked about potentially lane swapping into Surdy here, denying him a free lane here. Yeah, they picked the Maokai, but Izo, he loves functioning on these low economy tanks, right? That's where he thrives here.
Can't dive
and yes, he might get dove, but realistically, I mean, it doesn't really matter for Izo, right?
He just needs to catch this wave. Don't dive this. They're trying to. Level 5 for Izo. Twisted advance. Flash away from that Bramble Smash back as well, but he's stunned up. The dive does work out for Slew, getting at least some gold back for the team. All the while, Grubs will be finished off by Northwood, and they can make a play onto the top lane, but Surdy's level 6. Going to be dicey as well. That's the magical journey. Getting a little bit of damage. No stun onto Surdy, though. Has flash still. Ward hops towards his turret, and he'll survive.
They get the dive off. They get some more gold into Aaron's pocket here. There was a potential for Izo to outplay that. He unfortunately didn't hit level 6 in time. But the question is, can they deny Surdy more, or can they get their bot lane in a bigger lead than what Slew is getting on the other side of the map, right? How much can they deny Izo, and how much gold can Enthralled get to offset that differential?
The fact that they keep stopping that recall, though, from Surdy, I think is actually going to be the big thing. So it takes a lot longer for Surdy to get back into the top lane. Aaron and Skytech had already reset. They have to TP into the bot lane for Surdy, which should give TP priority over to Northwood once both TPs are up for the top lane.
Yeah, and they're going to reswap potentially here. Yeah, because they stopped it, they're going to reswap back into that bot lane. Surdy's not going to have a fun time. He's going to pick up this one wave, and he's going to be met with Bard and Varus once again here. So I like this from Northwood, mixing it up. And once again, he's got to back again. They're going to go for the counter swap. Now what does Northwood do? Are they going to recall, pick up the wave, recall, and swap back top?
The thing is, I think it hurts Slew more than it hurts Northwood. You talked about it, low econ top laners. Maokai is like, okay, fine, I'll just get the wave, whatever. And then Varus getting more gold and more power, especially with the on-hit build that you're going for the Varus. Not quite the cheap build that we're expecting to see from Aaron. With it could be lethality, but more than likely with the build right now is going to just simply be that normal, typical on-hit build for Kalista. But this is just really, I think it's helping out Northwood at the moment. It's kind of getting Slew into this bad spot where they feel like they're the ones having to catch up with Northwood consistently.
Yeah, and I think unfortunately Slew have been able to pick up the waves here, and I think they're going to come out on top, right? The counter-swapping, the mishmashing, the musical chairs of Summoner's Rift has finally calmed down here, and there might have been a moment for Enthralled and Clyde to pick up that wave, recall, and then swap back up, but I think they're just going to go back to standard lanes again. Yeah,
for the moment. You never know. You never know, especially with this. And looking at whether the gold has been allocated so far, it's actually RBM having the lion's share for his team. He's the one that's got a lead over Winnie. Sure, it's only 600 gold, but when you look at the other parts of the map that are behind, like 200 gold mid lane, still, again, not too much, 400 in the bot lane, about 500 in the top lane. You see a gold lead, you're expecting Slew to be dominating, but RBM has been a big factor. Nice flash in with a handshake, the pull back in with the Fate's Call, but they take the magical journey right into the waiting Aaron's Winnie, and nobody's escaping that with the flashes away as they already got the kill. Flash over the wall. Darkwing's surviving. How does he actually get out of that one? They can't chase him down anymore, so only the one kill. It's Slew coming out on top.
The Viari combo could not pick up Darkwings on the roam here. It's supposed to be 4 members from Slew coming down to greet Northwood, but 3 is just enough. Winnie going into his waiting hands. The Bard Portal betrayal. Enthralled walks into there, and unfortunately Slew pick up another kill, and Aaron picks up another kill here. 3-1 on this Kalista. You give him Jinx, he'll carry. You give him Kalista, he'll carry. It doesn't matter what ADC he's on. He's going to dominate the bot lane.
That Ward doing a lot of work here in the spot lane too, giving enough information where they pretty much suspected that RBM wasn't in a position to counteract that bot lane play. And I know if we got to see a replay of that. Slew telegraphed that magical journey a mile away. And now top lane Winnie, another gank all over the map. Pretty much going from lane to lane, getting everyone ahead. Now Surdy getting a kill.
Yeah, and this was the big difference maker that we thought Northwood would have here, right? Can RBM out jungle Winnie? Can he get more pressure onto the map? I'm going to say this right now. It's much easier for Winnie to jungle in Slew because he has these winning solos. He has that winning bot lane. RBM, it's tough because his lanes are getting pushed in here, but he's got to be the difference maker, and it's kind of rough right now that not being able to get that kill onto Darkwings early on to get those resets, to get some gold into their pockets is going to be rough. Let's see if they can pull off the Viari combo once these 2 ultimates are back up.
Winnie had to flash out of the pit there, so we are going to see the grub secured by Northwood, denying for the side of Slew, or even 3, because it will be 4, probably all 6 picked up by Northwood, which, I mean, we talked about this last game. It's not really benefiting Northwood in the fact that it's giving them the stats they need. It's just denying those from Slew.
Yeah, I think it'll be nice. They can get the 6 grubs. It can put some side lane pressure potentially if Reppy decides to go into the top or bottom lane later on once, you know, the tower, the plates have gone down here. But another dragon going over in the favor of Slew. And right now, Slew are sitting pretty comfortably. A 1,000 gold lead, 1.5 roughly here. And Aaron's in a really pretty spot right now, 3-1 on the Kalista. But Jax as well, nearly a 30 CS lead, about 20 right now on his counterpart. He's gotten a free lane. Surdy's going to be a menace in these team fights.
Yeah, especially going up against that Maokai. That's what we expected. And then Winnie, as I said before, he's taking this tour around the world, going from lane to lane, getting another dragon for the team because they knew the grubs were taking on the other side as RBM tries to go for the play onto Skytech, but he has to get back towards his team. Even though it seemed like they could have threatened Darkwings at that moment, really don't have that just yet. They don't have that burst that can actually take down Darkwings, especially with Skytech sitting right there.
Yeah, and the big explosive team fight that's going to come up in about a minute 45 seconds is going to be for that Rift Herald here. I feel like if Northwood can secure that, they can get some gold back into their pockets and even out the gold lead here. Let's see if SLU prioritizes it and says, you know what, we've got a really fed Callista. Let's put pedal to the metal and not give them
that ward.
pink ward.
RBM.
Guys?
Yeah, just not reacting to that at all, and that is going to bite them with this. I mean, sure, it's 4 minutes until the next dragon, but if they don't clear that, this vision control from SLU, just look at that ring in the bot lane, how much they have encircled the camp around Dragon so they could attack anywhere they possibly want to, and there's not much that Northwood could do to stop them if they don't clear out that vision.
I mean, it's a deep flank ward for Surdy, I guess, realistically. Maybe they'll be able to use it. It's not really well placed. It gives a little bit of vision onto the Hex Gates, but realistically, they'll probably end up clearing it out. Uh-oh, that magical journey!
It's the small portal! No, Clyde didn't want that one. RBM gets out of there, dashboard with the Arctic Assault, throwing out the bullet, attacking Clyde and pulling back in, getting the kill for Darkwings, try to re-engage, but they don't have any damage. Hostile takeover buffered a little bit by RBM. Again, you don't have anything in the tank. Double kill for Darkwings. SLU on a rampage here, getting control of the bot lane, forcing away Northwood, saying, this is all our territory.
Let's see if Varus can steal away. Consolation prize. He got the big Krug, but SLU, Winnie specifically on this Sejuani, just able to get the picks here and just really taking advantage of Northwood moving when they're not supposed to, right? And look, that small portal definitely helped out SLU a little bit here, but Clyde has yet to make an impact on this Bard, and it's rough. We talked about how he's picked into these more immobile compositions. SLU is very mobile, right? Like, it's hard to find a good Bard ultimate here. They've got to wait on the lockdown of RBM or the lockdown of ISO before they can really follow up. The idea is that they get one person locked down with the Vi, then Reppy comes in, gets the resets, and then they can start going through these fights. But it just hasn't happened. This Northwood team composition that they crafted, they haven't been able to get it going.
And the problem for Northwood is this is supposed to be one of the points where they're the strongest. A Vi Ahri, once you get level 6 for either of them, the chase down that you have should be winning you these fights. But these skirmishes aren't going this way, their way they want to.
Whoa.
It is all, wait a minute, that's a deep portal onto Surdy. That's the flash away, but the stun onto RBM.
Okay.
You get the Tempered Fate. That could actually be huge if they can get this kill onto Surdy. With the Outdoors Might, it's not enough. Clyde getting the kill credit.
I don't think you give that over, Clyde. I mean, you can't take that as ISO once again.
Oh, wait a minute. ISO getting attacked. Flash away, throwing down the roots though as he's pulled back in, but that's a lot of damage onto Darkwings. He was taking the turret that entire time, clearing out the minion wave the best you can for ISO, and it's going to be another pull of the kill for Darkwings, even though he was... What? He gets executed? How is that even possible there? I thought it was going to be a kill for ISO, but it will be a trade. Bot lane tier 2 collapsing. Northwood at least getting something across the map.
They take the tier 2 here. They kill Surdy in the process. So realistically, ISO and Northwood don't lose too much. It's an even trade. They don't even get the tier 1 top. ISO gives his life so that his bot lane can get a little bit more gold. And right now, Enthralled, sitting on this Varus 1-1 and 2, he's been put in a very precarious position because he's the one that's going to be carrying these fights right now. Northwood have been keeping the gold lead, and it's only been 1,000 gold lead for SLU this whole time.
Yeah, that has been the big thing, especially when we look at RBM, because that is kind of the secondary carry here. They put a lot into Enthralled, and this is a player that we've talked about how he has really been building up in this year, really growing into his own, kind of having a similar trajectory to that of Aaron, but both of them are doing fantastic. Both of them having 3 kills, well, 3 kill credit with takedowns if you count assists, to 1 death, and probably are very similar in gold. The only real difference is that Aaron has a little bit more CS as well. Looking at this mid lane, this jungle for SLU, they are really built up to help defend Aaron and get that damage as he's in the thick of the fights.
God. As well as Darkwings, right? Just laying down the Legos, playing kind of that bouncer for Aaron so he doesn't get caught out. I think this SLU team composition has really allowed this Callista to succeed in these team fights. And we've got a dragon coming up in about 10 seconds. We talked about Northwood. We talked about RBM. They don't like giving dragons away for free. So I'm suspecting a skirmish coming out from Northwood.
Clyde, they know he's there. That's TP. No stun, but Surdy denying the TP play from ISO. They need that tank there without him. You see that Northwood bailing out of
it. Oh my God!
But summoned down the Rift Herald, and Tempered Fate did connect onto Aaron, but he's still alive. Trying to throw it back in with the Fate's Call, getting the knock up onto one, getting a lot of damage. That's a killing spree with Winnie barely surviving. Shelly now crashing into the turret. 3v4 in this mid lane, but it's going to be Slew peeling back. They have enough pressure. They can get Surdy down into the spot lane if they need to, because they already canceled the TP from Izo. So he's pathing, he's walking his way towards this fight so that he can be impactful. As we look at Surdy, he can easily TP as he's getting the wave to push back in. But Slew don't even want the fight. They've already won, and they claim that third dragon.
And it was such a disjointed effort from Northwood. RBM going over the wall, looking for a potential ultimate onto Aaron. Reppy was on the other side. Enthralled was caught in a bad place, you know, near Raptors where the wall was. Northwood just couldn't get it together for that team fight. There was a window, right? Winnie missed the ultimate. There was an ability for them to kind of push forward and advance here, even though Izo's TP did get canceled, but just not able to be on the same page and not able to get Aaron here and any of the members of SLU doing a very good job right now furthering that gold lead. 3,000 now in their favor.
Taking these Hex Gates towards the top lane. Northwood looking at Darkwings there. That's going to be the magical journey. Trying to get the sun flashed away. Darkwing's perfectly fine. Minions should be starting to pour into the top lane turret with it being so low. Now Reppy actually having to defend this mid lane. 3 strong, and they can easily oh no, they don't have the ult just yet for Winnie. So instead just going to position Winnie to put the threat onto Reppy, getting the Arctic Assault to connect, but the Tempered Fate hitting the turret and Skytech. But now with everybody showing up into the bot lane, could defend. That's going to be the ult on to Clyde, trying to get the health back with a redemption to get a little bit of damage onto Winnie as well, but he's too tanky and the turret is gone. Traded for the top tier 1.
Enthralled is not there. They can't fight. They don't have the damage. If they go in, they just die immediately. The Renata ultimate's gonna come out. Winnie's gonna tank. Darkwind's gonna throw down the Legos here. It's just really rough for this like pseudo pick composition that Northwood have crafted for them to actually get onto anybody.
Yeah, and for Northwood at the moment, we were talking about how it had remained at about 1,000 gold difference between the two teams. Now it is starting to get dicey. 3,000 gold for SLU here. They have 3 dragons to their name, 3.5 minutes until the next one will spawn, and they do get Winnie out of his jungle, but what do you gain on top of it? You have to get this turret. You have the 6 grubs throwing down the roots and looking for Aaron, but he's out of there. The root does connect. Can they stop that TP?
Oh, they stopped the TP!
They do, and they got the damage to pull back in as they take down Bailout helping none for Renata Gloss and re-engage onto Aaron and Winnie, but they're back underneath their turret. Northwood making the play work out. They cancel that TP, they get the turret gold, and they're out of there with the kill.
Situational League of Legends, baby. The audible to go kill the turret so that the TP doesn't come in from Surdy, and then they pick up a kill on top of that. Well played from Northwood. They get the TP out, they get the free turret in, and now let's see if they can kind of look in to potentially deny this Baron. SLU, I don't think they're going to rip it. They're just looking for a team fight. There's no way they actually want this.
They can rip it. They got a lot of damage there onto Izo. He's supposed to be the tank. The charm connecting onto Winnie with a redemption, helping out with the heal onto Izo, but Clyde has to get out of there with magical journey, getting a lot of damage.
Watch Enthralled!
Winnie's still alive, and they get the resets, bailing him out! Northwood, nothing left for your upset days. It is all SLU chasing you down, throwing at everybody, and Surdy bashing him overhead with a lamppost for the double kill, and SLU are back onto the Baron.
Yeah, I knew it. They didn't want to rip the Baron. They were just looking to goad Northwood into a team fight, and they got exactly what they wanted. Izo didn't have the ultimate available. Let's see if Reppy can do it.
Oh, and the pull back in. Skytech on point with the handshake. Clean, well, almost clean ace, because Winnie was the only death on the team. And with only the 1 loss, 4 will now be wearing the Gen G Baron buff.
Really, really good from SLU, recognizing that they won the resource game, right? Specifically, key ultimates being down for Northwood. Izo's ultimate, RBM's ultimate. I believe Clyde's was already used, you know, prior to that, like before the Baron really got started. And SLU's like, you know what? We can just rip this team fight. We've got the resource advantage, and they play that perfectly. Put them 5,000 gold in the lead, draped in the Gen G Baron buff here as well. Northwood, they give one play really, really good, and they go 2 steps back.
Oh no, RBM.
No!
They pulled back in. He wanted to get some chicken nuggets. He just wanted to get some to go, but he's the one that gets eaten by SLU, and then Clyde suffers the consequences as well. Dragged right back in, and SLU, 22 minutes into the game, look to be 2-0 in this lead if they can get this game, as they are now collapsing onto the structures remaining between them and the game to win.
Magical, I know the 50-piece bucket from Wendy's is released, but RBM, those nuggets are not yours, brother. And Thrall's got a flash, the Sejuani ultimate, but the siege from SLU is coming in, and I don't think Northwood really have the firepower to fight back.
No, especially because Surdy's in the side lane, pushing the wave. They do get the charm into the Chain of Corruption, landing on a Sky Tech, but he's pulled right back out of there. Fate's Call, saving the day. Tempered Fate didn't connect on anybody, but they can re-engage. Darkwing's the target.
Okay.
He's an assist on top of him, but still alive. Bailout, helping him out.
Watch it, Thrall!
There's going to be the shutdown for RBM, as the rest of them getting the Huntals take over, connecting onto the junglers. But 4v5, another charm!
Oh!
Rapping for Winnie, getting the kill. They do lose RBM while starting scaring them off, and then
Clyde!
down to Clyde. Now they're all getting really low. Enthralled, gone. Double kill for Saren. He does die. 2 alive on each side, but it's going to be the final resolute fight ending there at a tie.
3 for 3 overall, and Reppy with those REQs able to pick up the last of these kills here, but SLU nearly 10,000 gold here. I mean, it's really, really ballooned in their favor, and the dragon is up. Hextech Soul is on the menu. So Magical, take a breath, take some water. We're going to be in for another team fight very soon.
DP, Darkwing's already here in the mid lane. Wants to push out the wave and then rotate their attention onto that dragon, as you're talking about. They do have the blue trinket in the pit. So Northwood know this could happen, but they need Enthralled, and he's only now respawning.
Got the Terminus online. He's still about half an item down against Aaron, but he's been putting in work right now on this Varus. The amount of damage that he's been pumping out has been keeping Northwood in these fights, but you got to realize he's got no summoners available, no Ghost, no Flash. SLU can just slam this team fight into Enthralled, and he can't do anything about it.
Flash cone from 30 into the pit, getting rid of the vision. They noticed that Darkwings was on the other side. They could look for the fight. That's going to be the Weaver's Wall with the counter-strike not connecting, but they already got the lockdown. Chain of Corruption on to Surdy. Pulled back in. Dragon going to be the target. Who gets it? Secured by SLU. Woody taking that one. Now the fight afterwards. Northwood ain't got nothing left in the tank with that Baron buff and the Dragon buff on the other side. Ripping him apart. Double kill for Aaron. Northwood on the run yet again. It seemed like maybe they would have had a chance, but SLU are winners for a reason. They have been running the lower bracket for a reason, and they ace Northwood for a reason.
SLU come up with the Dragon, they come up with the team fight, and they're probably going to push down to the Nexus here. 13 seconds on both Clyde and RBM. Let's see if they actually push for the end. They've got enough members, but I think they're just going to go for a double inhib, back up, cash the checks, and then look for that game-ending push onto the top side while the supers push in.
Yeah, it could do that, especially because we have 2 minutes. 2 minutes until that Baron will spawn. And it's now seen that SLU. With a lot of members who have been playing in the Tier 2 and players that we have been touting as capable of being in the Tier 1. No! No, Clyde! No! Oh, Clyde! You didn't want that portal, and now taking that portal away, trying to bait in Surdy, but it's only a little bit of damage. He will survive, but no stun. Instead, they're going to retreat out of the play. Clyde, oh my goodness, you're giving me a heartache, man.
At least he's on Bard. Right, he's not, he got out. He's got the portal.
Oh, no,
Winnie.
He's not out yet. He's not out yet. He takes another magical journey over, but it's Dragon and Winnie with the stun, and he's got to flash over with RBM not connecting the Vault Breaker, but the charm does. Counter-strike flashed on top of RBM. Get rid of the smite. Killing spree for Aaron. And with the Baron up in about a minute and a half, they can get all this control around the top side of the map.
Am I hearing circus music? What's happening right now in this top side? Clyde is taking SLU on a ride right now, but SLU are finally finding their footing. They're going to go look to push in this top side here. Tier 2 is finally going to go down here. The SLU are just thriving in the madness right now.
Exactly. I feel like it was more that Clyde was leading his own team around the circus there, and they get it difficult because RBM getting picked in that one. SLU getting control. Look at how much vision they have here. No fog of war to be seen for SLU on this top side.
Yeah, they're going to prep that Baron. A lot of those, I believe, are zombie wards here, and unfortunately, the Bard ultimate does whiff here, and they're not able to get it here. So that's a key ultimate going down. 35 seconds. I don't think it'll be back up in time here. SLU, a lot of money in their pockets. A huge item advantage. It's going to take a Herculean effort from Northwood to turn this around right now.
Uh-oh. And there's 4 items on Aaron right now. Aaron is so fed, so is Surdy. The push back, but Leap Strike on top of Malachi flashing away with Redemption trying to heal him back up. They got the chains, and they got the cease and desist on the Darkwings, but way more damage once Aaron shows up. 1 kill, 2 kills looking for Zyzo. He tries to flash away, but it's a double kill for Aaron. And you got nowhere you can go, Northwood. It's going to be the dirt and long nap for yourselves. Game 2 is going to be slews all the way.
They don't even need the Baron. They get the clean ace coming out from Slew here, and just a systematic dismantling of Northwood, right? It was close for a bit. 16, 17 minutes in, it was only 1,000 gold separating Slew, but team fight after team fight after team fight, and they're BMing just a little bit.
Just a little bit there. Just a little bit to their Northern brothers there. Saying, all right, we got the 3-0 against you last time for a reason, and this time we are up 2-0. 1 game away from moving on to the lower finals. And Slew, you talked about it. There were a couple moments that it looked like maybe they were slipping, but then they had this amazing team fight every time that Northwood just aren't capable of answering.
Yeah, and it's just the way they layer their abilities together, right? Slew team fighting, like I said, I think they're one of the best, if not the best team fighting team in CLOL at the moment, and it just goes to show you how clean and crisp they are. I don't think Aaron took a lick of damage in most of those fights, other than the one that he went down to Reppy on that RE near that jungle side. He has just been dancing around these fights, and Winnie and Surdy have been doing just a fantastic job buying Slew the space for their carries to do work. And once again, Darkwings on the Talia, on his best champion. Just chef's kiss, chef's kiss.
And it's one of those things, too. You look at Northwood and look at how they were able to win against teams leading up to this moment in CLOL. And a lot of it has been because of RBM, Reppy working together. But the biggest problem is it does just feel like everything that Slew has on their team is a perfect counter to that of Northwood's, and they are struggling to figure out what to do in the meantime, as we do have a 2-0 lead for St. Louis University. 1 game could be remaining. That is all that remains for SLU to go to the lower finals and face off against USC and to get their grudge match on. But we're going to toss to a break and bring back Sherv in just a little bit.